When you walk on stage, there's a wee switch in your mind where you just go, and when you're playing, it's not really the same person as I am off stage. I was a bar crawler and I spent most of my days just getting steaming, and then I'd get attracted to the places that I knew there was going to be bother. I'd go, let's see what they're going to say today, you know what I mean? Me and Laura's relationship together is pretty much exhilarating. You never know what's happening, and she always says that it's me, but she's like, let's do it.
I remember phoning my mum, I'm pregnant again. She was like, for God's sake.
We had a lot of kids in a quite quick succession, man. It's been mad.
We were both so in love and it just felt right, but it did become quite like, it's like you're away on tour all the time and I'm like up with baby all the time. How are we going to do this?
I'm going to start playing.
Yeah. What are they going to say?
I mean, generally that's the idea.
Memories should be yours and mine to share.
So honey, you're breaking.
I'll be the one.
It's quite cute as well.
You'll stay home. I cannot sing the story.
We've talked about doing a musical for a while because I thought that both of us could play a part in it. Some we're both good at. Laura's does her writing and I could do the music.
And I was like, okay, yeah, that would be cool, you know, like writing a musical about your album and all the songs. And he was thinking it would just be like a fictional story about the songs, but I was like, well, all the songs are about our life and what we were going through.
To do this, I had to let her be honest.
Mommy loves you so much.
When we started doing the musical, it was hard. She was like, I can't do it. She was like, do you not understand? We've got to go to these places to do this.
The writing journey was quite hard. It was kind of like ripping off a band-aid and kind of opening up an old wound again.
I'm sorry. Mummy, it'll be better tomorrow, okay?
Just basically, it's people acting out our lives right in front of her. It's like, oh shit, I'm a dick.
When there's no more me.
In a relationship when we first met, it was just like a total fantasy. It inspired me in good ways to want to have something, like to be passionate about. He just goes in this Kyle mode on stage and he just demands the presence of everybody, and it just made you really fancy him a lot more as well. I was like, whoa, he's looking nice up there. But yeah, just nice to see somebody being so passionate, and it was hard for me to like envision that this was actually his life since he's been like 17.
I've had the same ding dong before midnight. I'm gonna go to the disco in the middle of the town. Everybody.
We got signed when we were 18, and it happened pretty fast. We were getting publishing deals, everything thrown at us. We never understood even what publishing meant. So like the royalties and all this shit, you're just like, whatever, just get me to Team Park. That was our goal, you know what I mean? Because we've been going there for years, we just wanted to go to Team Park.
Who have you brought? How many mates you got with you?
I think we've got 30. We took dodged to the police when we were coming in.
Highest new entry on the album chart this week goes to The View, who are currently having a big party to find out if they could get the #1 album in the UK.
Welcome to the 2007 Nationwide Mercury Prize. We've just enjoyed The View.
We've been touring since we were like 18. Going to Japan, America, and like going really big out other places. We just embraced it, everything that was going on.
From Dundee, The View.
I grew up in Dumfries and all my friends had went off to uni, and I was just feeling like, why am I still in Dumfries? Just feeling a bit lost. My best friend was in uni at Dundee. She was like, yeah, just move here, like get used to a city. I came here and then I think it was 2 weeks later I met Kyle.
The View had a bit of a reputation. We were basically banned from the pubs.
Went to the gay bar and the only girl in there was Laura. And that's how we met.
It's a bit blurry, but yeah, we had a good time, and then he came back to have a bit of an after party, like not in that sense. Like, actually just like sat up all night talking about Stanley Kubrick and like musicals and like everything, and I think I actually did show him a bit of my writing that night, which was a bit vulnerable, but I just thought he might be into it.
When I knew she was writing stuff, I was like, holy shit, I was blown away. She's got away with words and some of the things she says is profound.
And then he was telling me about music and we were bonding over that, and then musicals and just banter, just having a nice time.
I built a bibble whack in your room and
A what? A bubble whack?
A bibble whack.
What's that?
Like a wee tent.
Oh yeah, and then you tried to show me how to play music on pots.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any instrument. It was just a bit of a, not in a cliche way, but like a bit of a connection and a bit like, oh.
And then she had to go up for work and I was like, please don't leave me. And then she was like, get out of my house. I think I moved in a week later.
It was a bit of a whirlwind. I remember we were like inseparable, and then he had to go on tour. It was like a month or more. I got time off from work. I ended up staying for the whole tour instead of like the 4 days I was supposed to stay in. For me, I was like, this is like a total adventure. Like I remember thinking it was just us against the world and our wee bubble, like running around together in love in Europe, and it was a really good time, and I'm glad I did it. I remember my boss phoning me and she was like, Laura, it's 10 o'clock, you're a wee bit late. And I was like, I'm in Germany, so I'm not going to be able to make it today. And she was just like, oh, rock and roll, love it. Like, just, you're only young once. And then I did get fired when I got back, but it was fine. It was good times. How do we describe it?
Just a lot of drinking.
The chaos in our relationship when we first met was very heavily around drinking, I think, because I was 21 and I was like in a new city, and I was like, oh, you're in this band, and I think it took me a little while to realise that Kyle maybe should have not been drinking, whereas I was kind of like wanting to take part in it because I hadn't been involved in that.
I never had an actual job. My job is being in a band and partying, you know what I mean? And you hear that chant outside and the floor's rumbling, you're like, fucking get the baby. Because that's what you associate it with, and it's just, and everyone in that crowd is absolutely fucking away with the fairies. And if you're sober on stage, it doesn't feel the same. So if I'm going to keep doing this job, I need to be on some sort of level. Because there was that kind of rock and roll thing, like, you kind of, once you get tarnished with that brush, it's hard not to, when you're out, people are like, oh, for Kyle for you, man, there's a line, and it's hard not to go right. Back then, you kind of got to live up to your name. No!
Hey, what are you doing there?
I do feel trapped sometimes if I can't have a beer, you know what I mean? I've always had battles with drugs and drink.
Alcohol, like back then, was like self-medicating, because it was just every day when you're touring and you wake up and you're just, the whole day you're just trying not to drink, and like, but then you're vomiting, so it's like I'm vomiting every day, so it's a cycle to get out of it. So I'm like just drinking again, I'm like, gosh, the vomiting stopped, but then when I'm going even close to the venue, I'm like, ugh! And it's just non-stop, so you've got to really get the good liquor down you to stop. And then it's spewing up blood, and it was just like, and then I'm like, oh, I need some drugs to calm us down, and it was just like a big vicious cycle. And then when you were sober for a couple of days of that, I was just like shaking like a shitting dog, and it was hard to, because you're touring it, the View were non-stop.
We're kind of in this drunk, fueled kind of thing where it was like we're so good when we first met, and then it was like, this is just chaotic. I don't know if this is a life for me.
We went to Spain for my birthday.
And We were supposed to be there 5 nights and we ended up staying for like 3 weeks or something. We just kept changing the flight. We lost our phones, we lost our bank cards, we were just being really chaotic. And yeah, it just got a bit out of hand. It started being like we left Portaventura, we just stayed in a hotel in Salou and just too much alcohol. And
But I've told you about the plane story
yeah,
anyway, let's not talk about the plane story.
But yeah, that's what happened. It
Yeah.
was the plane stuff.
I was speaking to her over the chair, and the guy was like, "Could you sit down?" And I was like, "What the fuck? Just shut up, man." I was like, "Whatever." And he was like, "You don't speak to me like that," and all this. And I was like, "Well, it's you that's causing the problem, mate. Just be quiet. I'm speaking to my missus. I just got engaged. I've just made up, actually." And there wasn't even a big deal. Then the steward came, and he told me, he was like, "Sit down, or you get on." We're going, and I was like, "Fuck off." And then the plane actually stopped, and I was like, "Shit, this plane's stopping for me. Holy shit!" And then I got arrested on the plane and cuffed up. I was meant to be at Martin Constance's wedding that day. And he was like, "We might even come on my wedding." He says, "Your front page of the paper." How do people know about this? When I think about it, I get quite sad about it. They were saying that I was being homophobic, which is the biggest lie on the planet. I have no that homophobic bone in my body, like pure, at all. I'll admit to being an arsehole on the plane, but there's no way I said that.
I think that was just the universe saying, like, wake up call, this could get much more serious than this. Stop acting like you're in some fantasy world where you're untouchable, you know, because that's what we felt like. And yeah, it just became quite real after that.
I went straight to rehab in Thailand for 3 months, and that was a fucking massive turnaround. So I'd been at rehabs before, I'd spent a few months at each time. But I used to go just to sort of get my head clean. And just treat it as a wee holiday. But this time I was like, nah, can I keep doing this?
I saw like a total vulnerability in him when he was like needing help. I actually left my other job that I had at that time and went out with him to rehab, and I stayed in Thailand in a house out there. It was pretty serious for me. I think Kyle had been to rehab before, but this time it was different. Like I had a reason to actually heal and discuss, like go within himself and find like, why am I acting like this? The time in Thailand was when Kyle was in rehab, so I was writing. I was using the free time and the inspiration of Thailand to do some writing. So I had my laptop out there and I wrote like a horror that I wanted to be novel, and because that's what I love horror stuff. And one of my friends, I remember, read it to her and I thought, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed like reading this right now. And then she was like, what happens next? Like, what? This is the best thing like I've ever heard. Like, you need to read more. Like, and I remember we were sitting in the pool and I was like reading it to her at the side of the pool, and it was nice actually. A little bit of like confirmation that maybe actually I could do writing in a certain sense. I was only allowed to see Kyle once a week in the therapy room at the rehab. But they left us there with the curtains shut. I mean, what did they expect was going to happen? But I remember like being in the hotel and it was like, something's not right, and I took a test and I was like, oh god.
You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You just remember what your dad said. Yeah, you got a friend in me.
When I came home and that, I was totally sober, and it was horrible. I wasn't feeling good about it. I started thinking about my life and my future, and I was like, I can't do this so like the rest of it sober. And then I ended up having I woke up in the hospital, had an overdose on some tablets, and I had a seizure, I can't remember. That was when Laura was pregnant with Wilde, and even now I hate the fact that I could have died, and I hate the fact I wrote a song like that, and I hate the fact I've done it to her. Go and sit at the table, please. Daddy will sit here, get you into the chair. You want me to sit outside?
Daddy's special out the shop.
Macaroni on top with macaroni on top.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's class.
Yummy. Yeah.
Kyle becoming a dad probably saved you. You grow up when you have kids, like you do, you have to, you become selfless.
The blessing is the kids, because I don't go on with the kids, and I don't really do it anymore. I don't drink for the kids. It's like just finding my feet. The change in me is a lot, but there's still that inkling in my head that I've still got that wee menace kicking about. You know what I mean? But if I get rid of him, I'm soulless, fucking lifeless body. You know what I mean? You don't really realise that you've got gremlins until somebody is people go, there must be a reason for you acting like this, but I always go, there's no. I don't think there is. I mean, my therapist is like, there's definitely got reasons to be doing this, and I'm like, what though? She's like, you've still got a mum and dad.
I lost both my parents when I was quite young. I was 16 when my dad died, and I was still at school. And then when the View were in their prime, it was like I got a phone call saying my mum had took a stroke and went blind, and then I came back and she had died like pretty quick after that. So I'm glad I got to the last few days. But yeah, I was 21 when it happened as well, so it was pretty young. It's being a guy from Dundee, it wasn't really a thing we kind of talked about. I mean, you got a pat on the shoulder and saying, there for you, mate, but especially from coming from where we come from, it's like a wee council estate in Dundee. It was the pits, you know what I mean? So when I see my pals in it, we still have great chats about coming in and my mum giving them the tea and like telling people off for playing pitchy up the stairs and like, loads of. We still have good times, but it's not really what you're needing when you're letting your parents. You don't need funny stories about them. You want a shoulder, you want somebody to be there for you all the time.
Anybody do with their eyes open, eh? Gonna be with you, baby. Your questions go unanswered.
When Wilde came, I think everything flipped, because it's like you're in this little bubble of like a bump and you don't really know what's going to happen, and you're just like, oh, it'll be like us but with someone else. But Kyle was away with the View just after Wilde was born, and it was really lonely.
I was like, oh, I don't want to go on tour anymore, I wouldn't want to leave if I had a kid, and then it was like, then I realised how else do we make money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure to bring in more cash.
He was like kind of trying to juggle being a dad but also living that lifestyle, and it was still a bit too wild sometimes, and it was just that kind of brought out some struggles in us. They had been doing the same thing for like since they were young, touring the same places, and he was just feeling a bit lost. He decided he wanted to take some time out of the View because it wasn't good for his mental health. The band all kind of went their own way.
We also had a wage with the View, so we were on a wage. When the View stopped, we stopped getting a wage, so that comfort blanket was gone. So it was like, the way I spend is crazy, so then I was like, shit, I need to go and make some more money. Then I was like, how do I do that?
So then he started doing like a solo work and everything. When it got to Kyle's album, that was quite a long process, and it was like we were together and it was quite comforting. And then when he had to go away and tour, it was kind of like, it was quite isolating. But I never really sat down and said like, I'm really struggling, I need your help.
birthday. Love you, Daddy. Love you, Daddy. Diggy, 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 diggy. Keep going. Keep going. Good girl.
I fell pregnant with Winnie. I had a 2-year-old and then had Winnie, and I was trying to juggle staying awake at night and staying awake during the day and not being able to nap. And I was just like kind of propelled back into like, okay, my stuff's on hold, I'm with the kids and I'm supporting you with this. So I was writing, but it was just really unfocused. I was just really pulling through the days at this point, really. Being on my own again with the 2 kids, that's when I started just feeling pretty down and started not looking after myself at all. Like, I didn't realise, but I wasn't like eating, I wasn't looking after myself. Like, I was just putting everything into the children, and they were really happy, but it became like I'd have like panic attacks before leaving the house, and like walking to the park would feel like this weight. Kyle was like, oh, have you been out? Have you gone places today? Have you done this on the phone? And I'd just be like, I just lied to him because I felt like self-conscious that it wasn't okay to say like, no, I'm struggling. Not wanting to be like a failure at it because I didn't have my career, I didn't have anything, so I thought, like, I'm a woman, I'm meant to be able to be a mum, so why am I struggling at it? So I just didn't want to tell anyone. And it was just anxiety of like questioning myself as a mother and just not feeling like I was doing enough, especially through social media when you see all these mums that look like they've got it all together, and I was like, maybe I'm not doing it. Why do I not enjoy going to the park? Like, why did, you know, sorry. Yeah.
It's just us. That's the new beginning. I love you, Ma. I always love you. Same little chat. Same. Fint og æst, det er not perfect. Love you.
Wait a minute, who's winning?
Me.
Are you Sub-Zero?
Yeah.
Wow.
We were kind of arguing, and Laura seemed sad a lot, and I was always like, why are you so sad? You should be happy as anything. I spoke to her mum and she was like, oh, I don't think you understand what Laura's going through.
I got to a point in my head where I was really low, like they'd be better without me because I'm not the kind of mum that they deserve and all these things. And as soon as those thoughts started coming into my head, and I broke down, and I had a big moment with Kyle, and I was crying about it and everything, and then he kind of said, like, I think like you're needing to talk to somebody, I think you're needing some help.
Remember all the weekends that we slowly turned around into 10. Remember all the weekends that we made last for weeks in the air.
He said I need to forgive myself. That it's not my fault. Postnatal depression. They tell me it's really common. 1 in 10 women.
I did not know I was experiencing postnatal depression until now. I'm able to come out of it, and I did speak to a doctor and everything. I think opening up and talking about it was like a pressure cooker in the lid. Like, it just was like able to like breathe a little bit, like that I wasn't judged for it. I started just writing like journals, and I'd write things down, and it was like a little bit of therapy. I'm quite like an emotional writer, I like to come from somewhere, but I didn't really think that I would ever take postnatal depression and write it into something.
Just before it was finished, she'd read it to me. I think she was kind of testing it to see if I would be upset by it. But it would even be like some stuff that was quite recently, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, that's kind of fresh off the wagon, you know what I mean? It was like, come on, you can't say that. But she's like, well, it's true. And so it was kind of hard hitting hearing some of the stuff.
He'd never really known my side of what I was going through while he was away. So it was quite emotional. I remember us kind of crying through the development of it a little bit. The songs are off of Kyle's second solo album. And Kyle seems to do this thing where he writes the whole album and then he doesn't realise that it's actually what it's about. And I was like, this sounds like it's about like my postnatal depression and what you were going through. And he was like, oh yeah. So we literally sat down and kind of mapped the direction of where we were going to go with it.
The wee man sleeping in his cot.
I feel like I could cry.
Because I've never felt
So happy.
Know your mum, I love her so.
But hate it when she tells me to go.
So co-wrote it with Johnny McKnight. He kind of was like, why don't I kind of take a stab at Kyle? And he went, you just tell me if it's like right or not. And I was like, you have got Kyle to a T. Like, honestly, I was like, that is things he would say and think.
The fire fades when I'm not there. 'Cause memories should be yours and mine to share.
So honey, you rake it in.
Doing this project together has been cool because it's shown that we could do something if we put our mind to it. Whereas before it was always like to be able to get Laura to believe in herself to do it.
I think I just didn't have confidence to really believe that I was good enough to do writing.
Just the questioning, like a bit of imposter syndrome. You know, these are all people that have done it for years, and I'm like, should I be in this room? And you know, and that's just within myself. Nobody has made me feel that way. It's just your internal struggle with coming out with something, I guess.
I don't even think it's modest. I think she's just clueless to how good she is.
And all the shame it comes my way when I'm the one that hates to be away.
So honey, you rake it in.
There's like a really dramatic scene. She tries to commit suicide. I'd had those intrusive thoughts about thinking maybe I shouldn't be here, but I'd never attempted suicide. But I knew that my mum had when we were children. All of the writing has come from a really authentic, genuine place. So I called my mum because I didn't know, like, how would you feel when you wake up and your kids are looking at you and you've tried to do something like that?
Your dad was away a lot, so I was basically on my own. So I did get a bit overwhelmed sometimes and a bit low. I felt so just unable to be a mother.
And when we're talking about just how difficult things got for you, and you actually attempted suicide at that time,
yeah.
I don't have a memory of that time.
You were 3, and it's hard to look you all in the face again afterwards, you know, because like at the time you feel that you're doing the best thing for your children. And they would definitely 100% be better off without me because I'm useless and I'm bringing them down and all that. You feel like you're helping your children rather than hurting them.
Yeah, you felt like that.
Yeah, but it just happened, didn't it?
It's just weird how that's like, even though I didn't attempt suicide, I got to those points in my head how, even though I had to go to therapy and all these things, what helped me was the fact that I knew that you had been through that. So I feel like that was like a safety net almost, because I knew that I wasn't a bad mum because you're such a good mum and you felt that. So
You've never been a bad
no, but that's because you've been through that, you know, and I know how much of a good mum you are and how much you love your children. That when I was going through that, that was like a beacon of light almost, that I was like, okay, this isn't real, and that's maybe what was enough for me to not actually attempt suicide, because I knew how much you didn't want to have done that. That's why you're super strong.
feel like I need to get it on its feet first so I can feel confident about how it will be received.
I'm so excited to take it to Edinburgh and also show it in Dundee as well, and just where it all began, but I'm nervous as well because it's the first thing that I'll have ever put out, but I'm hoping that it helps people and that they can connect with it in some way.
Thanks for that.
Hey, Frida.
Okay.
Tech therapy.
Him lying in my arms, feeding his belly. Both of us feeling so connected.
Hold there for 1 second. Where's good to go from? Grant.
I might just stand for one more line just to give them a bit of a juice.
Sit for a minute, establish it.
And then sit.
Great. Perfect.
And
Okay.
then do a little bit there. That's fine.
My phone's just sort of been going off the hook with an incident that's happened with Kyle's band. I don't know what will happen with the gigs, but obviously they're hoping that they can. I don't know, they've got an album coming out and everything. I think they're hoping that they can maybe get past it, but I don't know what their mindsets are right now. I know that he's going to be so upset and I can't be there to comfort him because he's in England and I just know that he needs a hug or something right now. I'm just going to kind of switch off from all that and just detach myself because I've worked so hard on this. Sorry. Yeah, it's just upsetting, so I just want to focus on this and just to try and switch off from it, and hopefully people still come and see this and get aren't focusing on that and they just focus on what we're trying to show with this, because that's the real Kyle and it's just upsetting. Sorry.
I don't even remember doing it. I completely lost the plot. Yeah, I do feel out of control there sometimes. I feel like sometimes there's, everyone says that they've got issues in that, but I don't really think they've got the same issues that I do. I don't know what it is, but I feel like my brain never switches off, and it's like, sometimes it's like, come on, give us a break. I'm ashamed and I'm pissed off that I've done it to Laura, but at the same time, people have already got their opinion of me anyway. It's like everyone always thinks I'm an arsehole anyways. The biggest deal of my life, and I know it to come. It's kicking the stones. That's what the story's about. It's about this crazy couple that have had this crazy life.
It's happened, it's out there, there's not really much we can do now. And if you don't want to ruin it further by passing them off. I know, I miss you too, but I'm only going out for one night.
It doesn't matter.
You're not used to me going out.
It's okay. Hold on.
Honey, you'll have a fun time, it's fine.
And that one.
Literally going to be like a couple hours and then you'll be sleeping anyway. Okay? Yeah? Face up time for 2 minutes. Just turn his face the other way. Bye. Bye.
Okay, Jets and Pets in.
Bye, honey.
I thought you were coming.
No, you go and have fun. Let me cuddle.
Ah!
Bye, Jet. Bye, honeys. Doesn't feel very good that he's not here right now. Feels a bit like a kick to the stomach, a wee bit. But, yeah, I don't think. Yeah, it hurts a little bit. I think starting out this whole thing, I was very like sceptical, like, oh, I don't think I could do that, like, and Kyle kind of gave me the shove that I needed and was like, listen, you're talented, like, you can definitely do this. It's definitely made me feel more confident and more like
excited like for what could come next in the future with like my career and stuff like that, because like I know I'm a good mum, I know I can do that, but what I want to have like something that's mine that I'm passionate about as well. You should be here on the opening night.
I can't see it. It's not her in that bed. Looks like her, sounds like her, but it's not. So me, I hold her hand, you know, and say, Hings. Nice Hings. Supportive Hings. Come on and level with me, Lana. I know you're dealing with the trauma, but I can't bear to find another. If you're not happy with me, if you're not happy with me, come on and level with me.
He told me I have to write down my feelings. I said I won't need a notepad for that. Back of a cornflakes box will be enough. Monday, I feel like shit. Tuesday, I feel like shit. Wednesday, I feel like shit. And I feel humiliated. Like I've fallen flat on my face in a race I didn't even know I was running. But then, well, the words, they start to pour out. The words, they become paragraphs, become sentences, becomes pages and pages of all the stuff that was in there, choking me up, and seeing it all written down. Something about it just makes me feel different. You know, like I might be okay. You and me, baby, we're gonna be okay.
I don't know if he's going to answer. No. Hello.
Oh.
I know you'd be like weeping if you were there.
Oh, well done, man.
Thank you. Oh, I love you. I'm sorry you're not here.
I'm going to get a wee disguise from during the week.
Yeah, no, let's get you a moustache stat. Get you.
I'm technically doing the dances out if I was you. I'm just going to get a wee tash and a hat.
No, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Don't worry, you'll get to see it. And you'll be super proud. I'm super proud of you.
Where's your baby Wilson? It's no good to disappoint people, is it? Especially if you're in a band or you're in a family and you're running a big ship. You don't want to be the one that lets it down. Back in the day, it was hard. I just didn't want to disappoint my mum, you know what I mean? But now I've got like my family not to disappoint, so. But there was a while where it was like there's nobody left to disappoint, so it was just like running riot. But I mean, now I'm trying my best not to do that. I've been chomping at the bit for years just to get some clarification on why I do crazy shit sometimes. I speak to a therapist all the time. She says this is like there's some chemical in your brain that makes you do these things. But surely that's not an excuse, you know what I mean? It's my chemicals, guys. I don't mean it, okay? It's my fucking chemicals. But, yeah. It would be good to just to be in a place where I could stop chasing my tail, trying to go and score some more cash, like having to keep on writing songs so that you can go on the next tour and make some more money. It's like, it's good, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about it. It's brilliant, I love my job, but you sometimes, if you don't check in, it could get a bit much. The whole point of the musical, it's not just about what Laura's going through, even though that was the initial reason that we started writing it, but she was saying to me when she was doing it, she was like, how did you feel? And I really got deep about it.
It brought us closer in a sense that for relationships to work, you have to have that kind of independence, and I've probably been quite codependent for a while because of going through postnatal and just being sort of in my bubble with the kids. Kind of found myself again in a way, and it's nice to be able to say like, oh, I've got something under my belt now as well, and I feel like I've got a wee step into like a career maybe. It's exciting.
We came here the day we got engaged and then we fell asleep on the beach.
We slept on the beach.
That was about 7 years ago now, man.
That's crazy.
This was my holidays like before I'd seen Spain and that. This was Monte Rosa.
Monte Rosa.
Absolute dynamite. What a place. It's no good for me to be away from the kids psychologically. I feel like I'm missing out on the whole thing. I need to make sure that my kids know that I'm their best pal, so I just didn't want to be away. And I think the roles reversed would be good. I'd like to go and be the stay-at-home dad and you go away and do like a book tour or something.
No, I don't want to go
and
away,
also have
just...
a taste of my pain. Because it's funny, because I do sometimes think that you think it's dead. It's just like, no, I know, but sometimes you must go, come on, you're in Spain.
Yeah, but then you'll
do
like a week in my shoes as well and be like, well, could you come back?
No, I know, I'd be greeting. I mean, I'd done 5 days and I was pure in tears. Like the mums were trying to help me and everything. I was like, I got this. I got this.
And then I'll be phoning you like, I miss the kids. Now it's going to the Fringe and it's like, feel like really in a really good place, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah,
excited for the next adventures.
I'm actually at the point in my life where I'm going, what's my next project? And that only happens once every 3 years or a year.
Every weekend.
No, but
I'd like to see us all settled with the kids, but still travelling, taking them new places, and also me having my own thing. Definitely writing, just don't know what.
Whatever happens next on this, that'll lead to the next thing anyway.
Yeah.
And probably no best no forcing it.
Yes.
See how it goes.
Ride the wave.
Although I do have a plan I've got to tell you about pretty soon. I'm serious.
Does it involve moving to Montrose? Anywhere we visit, you want to move?
It's something to do with a lighthouse.